They licensed to sell that right there, or
it all goes.
You're good on beer though, right?
For now.
No, I'm saying no good on beer, like to do them kind of trucks versus
what's
liquor.
Beer. You guys are here. For
I can't. Well, we can't do liquor, so we're in a control state.
It's just but
I don't
beer.
Yeah. We don't do non-alcoholic.
How about like the vodka seltzers? How they're pulling that off, right?
Because we got a couple of lawyers that are also beer distributors that figured out how to write a law that allowed us to sell.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah, we passed legislation.
It was funny because and everywhere else in the country, it's the same way. Those products kind of fall in a gray area. So they're a little less alcohol than what package stores want to sell.
Yeah. And
they're too much alcohol for what, and well, really for us, we just did not have a law that allowed us to sell a distilled spirit, light. We call it light spirit, a light distilled spirit. So we got together as a wholesaler network and went to the legislature and kind of we call it light spirit. Yeah, kind of pitched the idea and said, let's write a law that lets us sell it.
Hit that intro, Garrett.
Yeah, hit that intro, Garrett.
I got the yellow ribbon. So, it's okay. How many times did you sit back just relaxing? Understand movements coming in, yeah, we got the packs in. I don't really wanna see no more traffic. Last pack just came in, let's get it out quick.
I had a hard
Wanna be okay, wanna be alright.
They couldn't come in and be sold in liquor stores, and then they couldn't come in and be sold through us because we didn't have a legal mechanism to allow us to have to get the distribution.
That blows me away. So how long was that going on prior to, I guess, the actual legislation being passed?
So we passed the legislation last year.
Yeah.
Two sessions ago.
Making these for
and then we
years?
actually went back and increased that alcohol content of the law this year. But they had been making, I'd seen products like High Noon around at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So that's missed out opportunity.
But that's where we like part of what we do and part of like our role as a wholesaler is to find products.
So what is the max level of is it 10%, 11%?
It's about 10.3.
For beer?
Yeah.
Beer is so our state, it measures it by weight, not volume. It's 8% by weight, equates to about 10.3.
Yeah, but 10. what you see on a label is usually ABV, which is alcohol by volume. So it's a little less than 10.3. But
why does Mississippi do it by weight?
Are we the only ones that do it like that?
Strange.
Because it was a law that was written in 1934.
Yeah, 19.
So
I one of the Bertucci's.
But I mean, like when you get back to when you talk about those light spirits, though, like that was something that we saw, and that's part of the role we play in our business. Is we saw a product that couldn't be sold in our state that we thought consumers would want to be able to purchase in our state. So we went to our state legislature and we said, there's no mechanism for this type of product to come in here. So we want to be able to sell it, and we'll write the law and pass a bill to allow us to do it. And we got great support from it. And it was,
and it changed a lot because you went from having a select few beers to now they don't have that more alcohol level. You get to bring a lot more beers in.
Right. And that was actually, when the craft beer laws changed in the state, it was really and it took a while. It kind of predated a little bit me and Ryland's involvement in our business, but it ended up being a very good collaboration between all of the stake makers in our stakeholders in our industry, between the craft brewers, the independent beer distributors. You had retail that got behind it. You had state manufacturing associations that got behind it. So it was really, it really was kind of
you could bring people together on a like-minded idea.
I mean, who's not going to come together on alcohol?
That's right.
On beer, specifically beer. I mean,
you can see it now too when they made that push because I mean, all the brands you could take. At the time the local like Shandy back in the day, like they had to do beer tours. They're one of the Lazy Magnolia, same one.
Yep.
I used to go to Lazy Magnolia and see Mark, and you'd have to get like a beer tour to try their beer. And it was a big thing because these guys were like, distributing's a big part of it. but they couldn't even sell their own beer at their own place, and that kind of helps pay the bill.
Let me step in real quick, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Kathy and Susie's Kids.
We're
Jordan.
just drinking beer.
Yeah, we're being informed on one of our favorite things. We're here with Mr. Ryland and Mr. Jeff Bertucci, guys, of F.e.b Distributing.
Hello.
4th generation.
Thank you, guys.
So these guys are
Cheers, y'all.
couple beers. Let's get a cheers going.
Group
on.
cheers.
All right,
One
so
many.
let's go ahead and drop. I'm drinking the Port Orleans, the Sandbar. Tim, shout out to
That's
Tim.
what I got. Yeah, shout out Tim.
So anyway, I'll drop a little knowledge on that as we're going around beers. So Sandbar is by Port Orleans Brewing Company in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's partly owned by Zach Streif, who used to be an offensive lineman for the Saints and is now back coaching for the Saints.
Yep.
But Sandbar is an interesting beer. So it's a we call it a beach ale. It's not a lager, not a
It's
ale.
delicious.
It's not a golden ale. It's a beach ale. It's unique to itself, but they only brew that for the Mississippi coast.
Really?
Correct.
So this is
Exclusive to
That makes it even better.
Let me give you a little
no.
secret on this one. How I started drinking this. Every time Tim would see me out at an event or anywhere I'm at, across the bar, he's buying me a beer, and it's the same.
I thought
this
it was
beer,
from the dope signs
and
that Tim
you're
makes.
drinking.
Yeah.
Hey, let me get you a couple beers, and this is what you're drinking on.
Well, Tim worked for us. He was our
Many years, yeah.
director of sales, VP of sales for 30 years. So that's just old
He's
school
old
beer
school,
guy.
yeah.
right
Tim, we got a share for you right here. So whenever you're ready, look, we want you on the show. So
So I'm actually drinking. I'm drinking the Lazy Mag Timber Beast.
Is that who's on the front right there?
So
looks like you, Jordan.
I
Kind of does.
actually know who this is. This is a guy named Butch Bailey, who was the president of Raise Your Pints, who was the grassroots organization that kind of helped pass some of the new craft beer laws with the help of us and other stakeholders. So this was the when Mississippi raised their alcohol content for the first time here recently. This was the highest Mississippi, or the first high alcohol Mississippi beer that was brewed, and they released it at 12:01 a.m. the day the law went into effect. And Ryland and I were actually there,
But they had it on standby. That's awesome.
So this is from Lazy, who is the brewery that put Mississippi breweries on the map. They were the first one, and
Southern Pecan. We were just talking about that. That's my
Yep.
favorite over there.
and we've been fortunate to be with them from day one.
Skeleton Key all day.
Yeah.
So
Mark and Leslie, great people. So cheers.
Yep, I've got the Dr. Juice IPA.
I love
hazy IPA.
the can color on that.
Oh, it's awesome. And Parish Bruin is owned by Andrew Godley, fellow LSU Tiger from Broussard, Louisiana. And, Parish does a phenomenal with hazy IPAs. They have the Ghost in the Machine, great regional brand that we sell. We do very well with Parish.
That's turned into like my go-to beer.
You guys look to be fit for.
How many can you have? Though? You know?
I can, and that's why I like the Dr. Juice is it's very smooth and light bodied that I could literally drink those all day. I'll pay for it the next day.
Yeah.
But I could drink those all day long.
Well, I got some Pedialyte downstairs.
And then here we got the Fly Llama Brewing Company, the Fly Lager.
Shout out Fly Llama.
Oh yeah, and
Shout out Dave Reese.
Dave Reese.
Yep, that comes
Legend.
from the legend Dave Reese, who just opened up his first brewery in Biloxi, Fly Llama Brewing Company. He is a phenomenal brewer. Very talented.
They're right there by the baseball stadium too. I bet they've been getting
that's
a lot
right.
of traffic from
And they got a new parking lot.
from all those games that have
Did
been
you see
picking
that?
up. So
I didn't see that.
you guys brought a whole
The
smorgasbord of
city
beer.
stepped in and that right on the, I think under the bridge, the city stepped in and helped them have a larger parking
Oh,
lot
that's
now,
awesome.
so they can have more people.
That's
You
great.
know what's awesome about this guy too? How talented he is. He wanted to create a local seltzer, and
He did.
he has a seltzer that is
It's
local.
pretty fire.
He's got
It
a
is.
variety pack,
It is really
First
good.
Fridays, guys. You
Hey.
can try it out the first Fridays.
strawberry basil, muscadine flavor, and pineapple satsuma is in the variety pack, and it is amazing.
So I went to first Friday. Was it last month? Yeah, and they had the little fire truck out there, and I was on the seltzers. But the thing is about Dave, because I've been knowing Dave for a while. It's like, okay, let me just give me something, like I want to try it all. Like give me something. So him and Miles are just feeding me.
I love it.
It's
all right. So let's take this back. You guys are fourth generation beer, right? We got some pictures that predate you guys. Garrett, throw some of those up so people know what we're talking about here.
Oh yeah.
Explain a couple of these while we look at them, if y'all don't mind.
So we were we're actually
sick picture.
We're actually so that's my grandfather, my great grandfather, excuse me, and my great grandmother. That's Salvador J. Bertucci.
Salvador Bertucci.
So we're actually the oldest beer distributor in the state of Mississippi. That gentleman was the first man to get a wholesaler license when Mississippi repealed Prohibition in 1934. A little bit about his background. He was the son of immigrants that came over from a little island off the coast of Sicily called Ustica, Italy.
Ustica.
So have y'all been back there?
My parents have been, and it's on a bucket list for us to go back. About half the island is Bertucci's, so they're all Bertucci's, so they're all our cousins.
They'll welcome you then.
Yeah, right. So, but he was, he moved over here. He had to work at a young age. I think he only had a third grade education, and used to started by pushing a fruit truck from downtown Gulfport to downtown Biloxi every day selling fruit.
The hustle.
Exactly. And then his family opened a restaurant on 13th Street in Gulfport. It's called the Splendid Cafe. They lived above the restaurant. And then through, let's just call it salty means, he found a way to make a living during Prohibition. And
it was all legal.
Made some nice connections, and once Prohibition was repealed, just with that entrepreneurial spirit and the hardworking spirit that he had, he said, "Here's a chance for me to stake my claim." And
so, was it trucks back then, or was it railroad trucks, or
a little bit of both? But yeah, he started with one truck.
Was he by himself? Did he have siblings, or
he had a brother that passed away.
Yep.
And I think that was it.
That's tough back then.
It was only him. My grandfather.
So in my mind, I'm picturing what was that, Boardwalk Empires?
Yeah, yeah, right.
No doubt.
But he, we count. I was telling y'all earlier. We count our basically our founding date was March 27th, 1934. Was the day we signed a distribution agreement with the Jackson Brewing Company. Jack's Beer, which is
out of New Orleans.
Everybody knows Jack's Brewery in New Orleans as a shopping center. Well, that was the brewery. That was a brewery. And back then, it's kind of similar in some ways to where we've gotten now. Everything was regional. It was all regional beers.
What were some of the beers back then?
So we sold Jack's, and Jack's was our big beer, and was the only beer we sold for a while. But you had Falstaff, you had Ballantine,
and all that's
20 grand ale,
all brewed where
20 grand ale.
You had Stag.
Is it still around?
No, none of these beers are still
come on. Bring it back. Remake.
Then you had Miller Brewing Company got real big, and Anheuser-Busch and kind of took over at the time. And then
most people don't know, we actually sold Budweiser for about a 8-year period. I think in the 40s,
really,
before we got Miller Brewing Company. And when we got appointed as a distributor for Miller Brewing Company in the mid 50s.
That's got to be a coveted, huge, thing for y'all back then to be put on like that. How many people do they appoint within the state? 1, 2?
Well, I could go back. I don't know how many were back then, and even back then, wholesalers were very regional. We used to have 4 warehouses just here on the coast, in all different cities. But I know when my father says he got into the business in the late 70s, and there were, I think, over 60 beer distributors in Mississippi. Today, there's 9.
9.
Wow. And so. And really, there's 9 when you count. There's really 8 because we have a sister company that my great grandfather started in Jackson in 1941, Capital City Beverages. So that's counted as a separate distributorship.
Keep it that way.
But yeah, it's the landscape of our industry has changed, just like it has on the brewing side. You see a lot of consolidations now.
We see that a lot in any kind of. one person figures it out,
right,
and then they're better than others, and it's a dog eat dog world too. Surely y'all have acquired some people along the way.
We have. We've acquired brands. We're
The hustle.
So the way it works in the distributor world is, the each state and each region, there's like a preferred distributor.
Yeah.
And, we have a relationship with all the different, distributors and stuff. So, we do business every day, and
I'm not as far as acquiring new stuff.
I'd say
as far as acquiring new stuff,
you said
we
y'all do
sell
research. Y'all say y'all go do research on it.
we sell ourselves.
What is that? You got to go sell your.
So,
is that it?
So he says, is it a hustle or they come to us? Sometimes it's a little bit of both. We're fortunate. Yeah. So if you go back 25 years, we've been selling like craft beers for 25 years. 25 years.
I like the show already. Cheers to that one.
Yeah. We've been instilled with certain values in our business that came from our father and our grandfather, and they had the foresight at a very early time to understand like what we feel like our role here in our community is. And that's, we are breweries, whether locally or across the country, we are their access to our local market. So the way a beer distributor works is a brewery enters into an agreement with a local wholesaler who buys the beer from the brewery, warehouses it, stocks it, and there's 1,000 independent beer distributors across the country. And the reason this was all created was post-prohibition, when the federal government said, look, we really screwed up. Like, prohibition was a failed experiment,
Clearly.
But they said there were
something else.
But they said
Right.
but they said there were a lot of things that caused us to get to this point that we got to rectify.
Yeah.
And it was monopolizations, it was tied houses, it was overindulgence because breweries were buying, every bar up on the street, selling their because they owned the bar, they had zero overhead for their profits on the sale of their beer, so they had no incentive to
like even playing field almost.
Yeah, they had no incentive there was unfair competition. They had no incentive to promote health and safety of their beer because they just wanted to sell as much as they could at any rate for dirt cheap and get everybody drunk. And that's how, on a 30,000 foot level, that's how prohibition got to where it was. So post prohibition, the federal government said, we need to put this into the state's hands, and the states need to determine how they want to regulate their alcohol. Now what they did unifiedly agree on was that there's got to be somebody independent in the middle that's not beholden to either the person selling the beer at the retail level or
take the conflict of interest out of it.
And so that's how we view ourselves. Like, we want to promote our brands, but we're truly independent. I want to sell every beer that I.
So say I brew, I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, boom, I got the next best thing.
The next best.
And I want to get it in front of you guys, because I feel like if you partner up with somebody who's putting it in all of these places, that's would be a coveted relationship. But also, you guys are out there looking for the best beer.
Right.
So do y'all go do like brewing competitions, or how does that work?
I mean, really, and like I said, it works, but it works both ways a little bit. Sometimes we have, breweries that come to us.
Yeah.
And sometimes based on reputation or what we see in the market or what we see when we go out of town. And
you're on vacation.
We might reach out to people.
Ski lodge beer. And always see different beer in the ski lodge.
But where I was and I kind of got off point, but where we've been fortunate is we had our father, our grandfather, our uncle early on said, this is our role. We bring beers to the local market, and the local market determines whether those beers will stay around or not. Yeah. But we're not going to just settle on one thing. We used to have a 65 market share with just Miller High Life on the Mississippi coast. Just Miller High Life, and
it's called the champagne of beer.
It's crazy. And back then it was in like 2 packages. I mean, it was in like a 8-pack carton and a 24-pack can or something like that. Where now we have like 750 packages in my warehouse now.
That's ridiculous.
But even at that time, our father, our grandfather, our uncle were like, we're still going to bring beers to the market that we think our consumers will sell. So that's why we have Sierra Nevada that we started selling in 1986 or 87.
That beer's edible.
Good year. Good year.
We started actually the very first beer.
One of my favorites.
Very first craft beer, which back then they were called microbreweries. The very first one we sold was in 85 or 86. We got Anchorstein out of San Francisco. And this just goes back to, the foresight of the guys that have come before us is my father was at and his first cousin that runs our distributorship in Jackson was at a beer meeting in San Francisco, and they were walking around. I don't know if you've ever seen Anchorstein, but it's kind of almost like a pyramid looking bottle.
No, I haven't.
But they saw everybody in this bar drinking out of these weird bottles, and they tried them. And they were like, "This is pretty good." And they get back, and back then the labels actually had the phone number for the brewery on the bottle. So they called when they got back to Gulfport, and Fritz Maytag answered the phone, who owned the brewery. That's Maytag Appliances, and he owned that brewery at the time, and just said,
his phone number. That's his business.
I'm not even sure we ever signed a contract with him. We just said, we want to sell your beer. And he said, well, I'll send you a pallet, but that's how we've been fortunate to really have a huge portfolio, because we've never lost the mindset of we're here to bring good products to our local market.
And y'all grind a lot too. I mean, y'all are all out in the community. I see y'all a lot.
Getting beer here, is it all by truck, or do they do it by train, or do they do it by plane?
So we used to get everything. And Ryland, jump in here because I feel like I'm talking way too much. But Ryland's just drinking beer.
This is the brother show.
Well, you're on the operations side, so we didn't explain that.
Yeah, we're coming in next. Yeah. That's the next question.
Yeah, I run operations and Ryland runs sales, so this is my territory. But we used to get all of our beer, and I'm going back into probably early 90s, maybe mid 90s. We got all of our beer by rail. Mm-hmm. So if you go to where our original warehouse was in downtown Gulfport, it was on 29th Street, right over the tracks on the right. Okay. If you're standing at the depot or like where Chandelier is, you basically look over the rail tracks. It was right there. I don't even remember. 29th Avenue. I don't remember really having loading docks there, like freight truck docks. I just remember rail car docks. So, but now it's they still ship by rail, but we get all of our beer over the road on freight trucks.
I wish I would just bring back trains. Okay,
they're still there.
Let's get our comment real quick. We got some comments. We had some issues, guys. Weather, whatever. Cable. We'll blame it on Cable One.
What happened?
We got a little glitchy for a little bit. Okay, yeah,
cool.
Guido, shout out to Guido. Guido was on a few times. He works for you guys at sales. The best brothers in the biz.
Nice.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, we got the booth beef.
We didn't pay him to say that either.
Yeah. We got booth beef saying best podcast ever. We got what's it? Beer men are the best. That's Tim. Ivan Spinner, Dozier Boys. Dozier Boy. We got Tim with Sandbar. Yeah, well, that's what I'm drinking on, buddy.
Yeah.
We got Matt Whiteside, which we need Matt Whiteside on the pod.
Yeah, he'd be a good guy.
He wants that Ghost in the Machine is the GOAT. I don't disagree with that at all.
And then Mike right here, he's got the New Horizon Roofing. Just got done doing his logo. Big support of the podcast. Shout out, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
He loves the backstory. The way you got into the backstory, that was just saying. Preston, what's up, buddy? Hope your little girl's doing fine.
Preston, reach out to me. Let me know what your issues are.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
But he drinks Miller Lite.
Yeah, he's a Miller Lite.
He came on our show. He's in the intro of our show. The rapping, that's him.
Oh, nice.
So he's all he drinks is Miller Lite.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if there's something we're not doing right, please contact us directly.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it fixed.
So when y'all got into this, it's like you're fourth generation. So your whole life
how old
beer.
were you
like
whenever you started showing up at the
4 or 5? I mean, when you have a broom.
Is that what y'all call it? The factory or the warehouse?
Warehouse, office. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna take this and then I'm gonna let Ryland run with it because I'm older, so I got a 2-year head.
How much older though?
Up 2 years.
Oh, come on, you can't do that to your
So I got about a 2-year head start on the first time working in the business.
Right. You knew what not to do.
Ryland,
You knew what to tell him to go hide.
Ryland catapulted me because I had a different career for a while, and he took it and ran with it. So he's got more of the back of the end experience.
So what was your first day? Like you were like 10 and your dad was get up, boy.
Well, and now Ryland would agree with me with this. I think we probably made our first beer delivery with our father at about, I was probably 5 and he was 3. Because, and I'll never forget this. And it's just,
was that the Mardi Gras Lounge?
No, it was Nickel Knolf's. I don't know. Y'all, none of us are old enough to remember Nickel Knolf's, but people on this podcast or listening to this podcast will remember Nickel Knolf's, which was on,
your dad will remember
it was on Highway 90 and Courthouse in Gulfport. And it,
by the old Showbiz.
It's about where that surf style is there.
Right by Showbiz.
You ever been to Showbiz? Pizza?
Yeah,
that's our favorite.
That was north of the tracks.
We did a whole podcast just over Showbiz.
So I can remember, and I vividly remember this is, and that back then, your number was in the phone book.
Yeah, orangutans is where you're.
That was the big yellow book.
Yeah, so I can remember my father getting calls on the weekends of, I need beer, or
I need it now,
and
because you got to think, if a bar doesn't have beer, what do they have?
Yeah, and so
that's right.
We would literally drop everything we were doing on a Saturday. And I can remember him throwing us in his car and saying, we're going to run beer. That was the first time I probably.
So what about when did you drink your first beer?
I can't say that on air.
I mean, so 21st birthday.
That wouldn't be good.
No, I
allegedly.
I will tell you this. Everybody has snuck a taste of their father's beer at some point in their life. And if they haven't, they're lying.
I used to steal beer from my parents.
So I think the first time I ever took a sip of beer, it was a Miller Genuine Draft, and it was in our living room.
Remember it cold.
And my dad had stepped away just for a second, and I like to think I'm pretty opportunistic. So yeah, but I think
best thing you ever had.
We started working. I was 12. I think it was summer between. I had to have been 12. It was summer before my 7th grade year. So in between 6th and 7th grade. My father said, you need to learn, you're going to learn how to work, and you're going to work this summer.
Time to pull your weight around here.
Cancel your plans, whatever you were going to do.
Did you get allowance?
Camps, sport camps, whatever. I did get paid. I mean, it was probably below minimum wage at the time.
That's before child labor laws.
Yeah, but that was, I used to ride with him to work in the morning, and I would spend the day just sweeping, cleaning up around the warehouse. But Ryland can attest to this from the summer. And Tim can attest to this because we worked for him at some point. But from the summer that we were 12 until I was 21, I think 21, we spent every summer working for our business. So you think about in high school when people are going doing fun things, summer vacations, all that kind of stuff. College, people traveling abroad, staying, partying, getting, waiting tables,
doing kids stuff.
We always came home and we were on a beer truck, or we were running a sales route, or we were loading trucks in the warehouse at night, because my dad said, we always showed an interest in the beer business. And my dad said, well, if you're serious about the beer business,
it's going to be yours one day.
This is the beer business.
Yeah.
So you better get it and learn it and want to keep doing it.
So my family was seafood factories, and they were like, you can come do this. And after like 4 days in a row of waking up at 3 a.m, I was like, yeah, I'm out on that.
Yeah.
At least you're honest about it.
I spent the worst year I had was, I always liked being on a delivery route, which is kind of helpful in operations. I liked going from stop to stop.
Now, these are like the old beer trucks where you roll up the roll up doors, right?
Yeah, these were all side loaders. So, and back then, like I tell some of my delivery drivers, man, y'all got it good now. I mean, back then we had no AC, no radio, roll the windows down, and we always worked. We never got the good months. We always worked in the dead heat of the summer.
And it's got to be efficient too. You got to have it now,
right?
You run out of beer, you run it.
But I think probably my worst summer was summer before I went to college. I spent all summer loading trucks at night, and that there's just no way to sugarcoat that. It just sucks.
No AC in the warehouse. No AC in the warehouse.
Yeah, it's
You guys are still running 24 hours, or there are people there at night loading stuff up?
No, we actually so. Yeah, our warehouse shift, and I could check right now, they're probably almost done tonight. This year we installed a conveyor system in our warehouse. So
Dope.
what I used to do when I worked in the warehouse was, and it was different, and you have to change with the times. Back then we sold maybe 50 packages and everything was just loading pallets of beer on a truck. And now we build everything to the customer's order. And you're talking about dealing with 700 different packages.
So you're talking like High Noon,
yeah,
Miller.
yeah.
All,
So it's
okay.
just watched it go around. But yeah, so that, we put that in this year.
What's the weight limit on that? I mean,
the 25 pounds of that beer.
Is that about what beer weighs? 25 pounds per case, or are they all different a little bit?
Yeah, a little depends on the size.
see, I got this whole vibe though. It's kind of got this whole Footloose thing going on, back there. Like, is there music jamming when they're out there? And I mean,
they probably turn it on when I leave. But it's nice because those guys used to work a 15, 16 hour day, and now they can do the same amount of work in half the time. So they're running, like I said, they're probably almost done, run an 8-hour shift, go home, and give them a little better quality of life, which, having spent a summer doing it, I can appreciate it. Cause the way we used to do it back then was it was like a manual pallet jack, and you just, pulled it around the warehouse.
Hernias and
So Rye, we got a question for you.
But Ryland's got a little different story since he's on the sales side.
Rye, you got something about it. Big Rye is what they call you? That just caught my eye. I'm just reading comments. Big Rye?
David Branch.
Yeah.
Can bottle or cold glass? What's the choice? Don't ever put the beer in a cold glass, Branch.
My boy.
Is that your nickname? I like it.
Yeah.
I do like it.
That's a good friend of mine, David Branch.
So answer his question, right?
I love you, buddy. Yeah, never a cold glass, always in a can. You never compromise the quality out of a can, especially if it's craft, import, domestic, Miller Lite or Coors Light. It doesn't really matter, but
cold draft beer into a room temperature glass every time.
So don't do a cold mug? Really? Chris Smith, he says champagnes and beers. You're right, huh?
There's etiquette here.
I'm telling you, I go to tailgaters and get a cold mug.
I say can every time, just because no light can get into it. That's what I was always taught. But similar to what Jeff was saying, I started
to when was your first beer?
So I was
probably before mine.
You know what my first beer was? You really want to be honest?
Yeah, what was it?
My first beer was a Moosehead.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I have
never
no
heard of
idea
it. It sounds dirty.
How bad was your headache the next day?
Because that's all that was in my dad's refrigerator at the time.
Well, it was that time, man.
And I don't feel
Moosehead.
I shouldn't say that.
Dude, we're fine. It's after our podcast. We're not cussing parents. We're good.
No, so you went and then you stayed. You kept grinding and worked your way up to the sales.
So we both went to LSU, and I was a couple of years below
Go
my
Tigers.
brother. And go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
And I studied economics at LSU, and then graduated. Got married right out of college. Came back here and went right into the business. I was actually fortunate my dad was real keen on us if we had the opportunity to go work for another distributor.
Let you know how good you got it.
Correct. Like go work.
That's smart.
So I worked for Baton Rouge Beer Agency for a year while I was in Baton Rouge, still at LSU, and a tremendous experience that I had working for another distributor.
How big were they compared to you guys?
They were, the biggest thing working in high school for F.e.b, and like even back then we had such a great portfolio. We had a good craft portfolio, good import portfolio. But my first week at Baton Rouge Beer is where it was eye-opening. Like, it doesn't matter what you had in your house, you can go somewhere else and they don't have everything that you had. So like my first stop, I was pulling up Dos Equis and I was pulling up a Beta at the store, filling the shelves at the store, and I was filling up the Beta, and the guy kept walking up to me going, "That's not ours. That's not our stuff. That's the competitors." And I'm like, "Well, this is what I sell. We sell this in Gulfport. Y'all don't have this? No, we don't have this." So to answer your question, Baton Rouge Beer, great distributorship, but they were mainly a Miller House. They had Heineken and they had Schonnerbach in Baton Rouge. That was their main brand. So worked for them for a year and then graduated, came back, started in the business, writing sales, and been there, I mean, ever since. And
so you're out acquiring new clients. Like when the baseball stadium came here, you're beating on the door saying, let's do a contract. Do you guys got the baseball stadium?
You talking about the Shuckers?
The Shuckers, the only baseball stadium. Is
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, stuff like that. That's like that.
That's where we're at. That's where we are.
Stuff like that comes in, and I mean, we're an 87-year-old Gulfport business.
You have a sweet car, like a sweet like F.e.b. car with like a beer on it side of it.
I wish we did.
Like a beer that's
like just said that. I'm like, how do we not have that?
Just like you know what I'm talking about, like the hot dog, is that right?
We used to have a Jeep that
we did
the black Jeep, the Miller Junior Draft Coal Patrol Jeep.
How did we not get a picture of that?
So I just got done watching
Frankie,
that movie.
Where are you at?
The
Why didn't you
role models?
Yeah,
because me and Matt started doing LARP.
Minotaur.
Yeah, we started doing LARP.
Got it.
Like so, me and Matt started doing LARP.
We did do a LARP. We have
our own LARP characters.
I don't even know what
LARP is, where you dress. So we had dressed up in costumes, and we're bounty hunters.
Is that what I saw hanging up back there?
We're characters, man. We got our own swords and stuff. And I mean,
the cartoon we're working.
And you go out there and you fight.
That's awesome.
So we haven't fought yet. We haven't made it all the way.
No, we're going. They got some guys in Loosedale.
Oh my!
That's gonna Minotaur. That needs to be a live.
My son loves it. Though. My son loves it. Like we went.
Loves it too.
Well, we went. They had like jousting and everything at Beauvoir. Like they throw these, like they do like a pirate festival, and they do like everybody is characters, and you get to meet a lot of people, and they're drinking a lot of beer, and there's no rules.
Yeah,
you guys should sign up. You guys should come.
Yeah, they do. Had this guy.
You can join our clan,
but it is a little
I gotta
sketchy.
Step in.
Is it a clan of 2 right now?
No, there's 4 of us.
We're gonna go as many as we want.
David Branch, I got you, bro. I'll make it worth your while.
Branch, get in line. Branch, get in line for the people that bring Ryland's kids home on a nightly basis. That's not unique.
And Brennan said, "You're sexy, boys."
No, so I mean, and we're just so fortunate to be able to still be here and call the Mississippi Gulf Coast our home. Been here for 87 years, and this is our home.
Y'all big philanthropists.
We want to be involved in everything that's going on.
I see a lot all the time.
It's another thing that was instilled upon
and
us.
We're passionate.
Yeah,
for sure.
By our family, and we're not just passionate about our business. We're passionate about
beer.
We also like drinking beer too, guys.
We're normal people. I mean, we're
normal guys.
Yeah, we love where we live. I mean, I wouldn't live here if I didn't love where I lived. And my dad will tell you, it's, in his opinion, it's the greatest place to live in the world.
It's a hidden gem.
Yeah. And so, what's always been instilled upon us is you don't lose sight of the community that does so much for you. So we're here for 2 reasons. One, because of a community that supports us, that buys our brands, that buys our products that we sell. And 2, the thousands of dedicated employees that have come through our doors in 87 years are really the only reason that Ryland and I are here right now.
We're here for the employees.
But we, what has been instilled upon us is you give back to the people that have been good to you.
Yeah.
And so it's there's an indirect benefit. Like, we want to promote the place we live because we love living here. We want more people to know about it, and indirectly that can help our business. But it's really just like striving every day to support things, to support causes, to support events that make the coast a better place to live.
Just doing the right
thing. Absolutely. Dude, I love the coast.
How can you not like to live here? I mean, seriously.
So there's Matt. One thing we got to say though is like, what y'all like? y'all are out. This is what every time I do an event or if I'm out and a new restaurant opens or a place, y'all are always out there.
I think I met you, Jeff.
Yeah.
We did the what's the pizza place down in Biloxi?
Salamukis.
Salamuki's. Whenever they did the grand open, and
You're
me and my
right.
girlfriend met you and your wife.
But that's
there. We
important to
celebrated.
be, see these new development when you got the Marina Cantinas, you got the Captain House, you got all these restaurants around. Like you got so many restaurants that are right now in this whole like growing and getting bigger and then having support. And I love about the coast, and you can never take it. People are friendly.
Yep.
You can just meet a new friend and shake a hand. I mean, that's how we connected. That's why you're on the show right now.
And look, I encourage anybody that's listening. I encourage support your local businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like support the Salamukis, the Marina Cantinas. Those are the world. Like that's what makes and it doesn't have to be restaurants and bars. I mean, I want you to go there and I want you to drink a lot of beer, but support those businesses that make this place such a cool place to live. You don't want to lose that. Like, we want to continue a trend going up and not backtrack because now, I mean, I go back to when I was a kid and the coast was a different place back then. It was a great place back then, but it's catapulted so much further.
Progressed.
Yeah, exactly. And we need it, so in those places, especially in our industry, the bars and the restaurants got hit so hard by COVID.
Still are.
Yeah, and they still are. And it's because you've gotten people that have gotten in a routine of not going out. Like those people need our support right now, especially the local guys.
Absolutely. And I can't stress enough about what Jeff said about our employees. And, it's an interesting thing where over the last 5 to 7 years, I've dealt with, passing the torch of my dad's people being underneath me and then kind of finding my own team of managers,
which has got to be huge, I would imagine, because I mean, those are the people who instilled taught you how to do the business.
It's the people that taught us the business.
Tim Wold is one of those guys.
Tim being one of those, but like being in the situation where you're in a leadership role and you're seeing those people that taught you the business and they're on their way out, and then you're having to go find the next generation of the management team. And I mean, I to Jeff's point, I can't stress enough. We've got a great team of people and the thousands of employees. You think through 4 generations that have come.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean,
you don't get to 87 years in business without having great people.
That's right.
And that's not.
You're only as good as the weakest link,
right?
Too,
and that's not the people sitting in the back of the house. That's not the guy. That's not No offense to my father. But it doesn't even go to, that's not the president. That's not the vice president. That's not the director of sales, director of operations. That's your people, your frontline people that are coming to work every day, working hard because they
loading the trucks.
They either want to work or they have a passion and care about our family business. And we've never lost sight of that. That we're only as good as those people are, and they're our best asset. They're the best asset we have in our company.
So let me ask y'all this: is liquor up, or is not liquor? Y'all don't do liquor. Is beer up right now? I mean, they say during times of depression and during times of recession, alcohol sales go up.
Beer is up.
We were up over 2020. I mean, we had.
What about 2019? 2020 was a bum year for everyone.
2019
we were up versus 2018. And then the 2020 numbers during COVID were phenomenal.
So
we're even up more 2021 than
awesome.
what we were in 2020.
I think we've just on our business, we've grown every year since 2018.
Yes.
I think we're on an upward swing.
That is correct.
So
speaks to some pretty good leadership.
I got a question.
So I tell you what, it's because we have got one of the most diverse portfolios of brands. When you think of all these great craft brands we have, but then you think we have Corona, the Constellation Company, Corona, Modelo, we have Heineken, we have Smirnoff Ice, we have Guinness, we have all those brands are on an upward tick.
And you didn't even mention a seltzer.
So, but
I didn't
so on brands though is how many beers per, like, so you say you have Corona, how many beers come with Corona?
So Corona is so it's Corona, Modelo, Negra Modelo, Pacifica.
So I had this question I was wondering.
Victoria.
So you have your dad and you have Paul, which I got to meet Paul with the pink dress run, and Brittany and Teresa. I got to, I got to meet great people.
We have our first cousin, Matthew Hessel.
Okay.
His mom and
our dad,
my
and
dad,
our
our brother and sisters.
And he manages. He's our director of technology, so he's actually responsible.
How's it feel though
for all companies, not just F.e.b.
Yeah, you got Capital City. Yeah. So how's it feel though, like seeing? Okay, you got Paul and you got your dad, right? And how's it see like? And now y'all are starting to make decisions.
Yeah.
Is it when you watch them work together? Has it inspired y'all? I mean, they're y'all are both brothers.
It is because.
You're yin and yang.
Look, a family business is tough.
100%.
All right.
Huh?
So
sometimes I hate it.
I know. Ryland,
that's what I want to know.
The funny
sometimes he hates
the funny thing, there's businesses, there's family businesses that don't make it 4 generations, but because nobody likes each other.
They say typically, I'm in insurance. So third generation is the generation.
Ryland and I actually like each other. We're best friends. And there's some days I want to walk into his office and punch him in the face. I mean,
is y'all's office right next to each other?
No, we're I think that was strategically across the building.
This is where we're getting with this. So when y'all,
but for talking about my dad and my uncle, like it is inspiring because we can see them disagree. But then we see the leadership that they provide and the direction that they want to see our company go into. And so you can understand that you can have disagreements.
And still be on the same team.
But we also know how to have a disagreement.
Correct.
We know how,
how do y'all have a disagreement? One person
I walk into his office and I punch him in the face. No.
you plan like a week ahead.
No, it's the understanding that and it goes from my dad and my uncle down to my brother and I that at the end of the day, we agree on about 95% of everything that we do on a daily basis. We might not agree on how we get there sometimes, but we know where we're going.
Hold up. I got to respond to Alexandra. Alexandra, you were speaking to the Lindemans Framboise. We probably can bring that back in.
Yeah. We actually sell Lindemans, or we did.
Is this a beer brand?
We did at some point, and I agree with you that teamwork makes the dream work. That's a good blade.
That's Garrett's fiance right there. She's the White's Pharmacy in Wiggins.
That's awesome.
The White Elf?
Alexandra, I love the Blades of Glory reference there.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Oh, that's what it is. Teamwork.
I can't believe I caught Ryland on a movie quote.
You sure did.
We got Brandon Talley in here, our boy from St. Martin. He said
that movie.
Another great episode, Brooks.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it, bud.
And thanks for buying Crawford Beer hats. Go to crawfordbeer.com.
Hey, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this awesome crawfish and beer hat.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at my hat. Mine's LSU colors, F.e.b.
Look at that. It's got an F.e.b.
Yeah, so
just a little customization for you guys. We wanted to make sure that you remembered
Love it.
your experience.
We appreciate y'all having us, man. It's
been a dope show.
Well, I think inspiration, we're going to keep diving more into we want to know, that was
we still got an ice chest full of beer.
Yeah. With brothers, look,
my kids have y'all work to do.
That's a lot to be on your plate. You're 4th generation, or whatever, but to take over something this massive, it's a lot of employees. You got mouths to feed. You can't just think about yourself. And it's a day. So you take care of operations and you operate, especially now, efficiency is everything and sales is everything to you. So it's like,
well, I don't have a job if he doesn't sell the beer.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. It is.
And I don't have a job if
I don't get it delivered.
If the beer doesn't get delivered.
So that's what we try.
So
and that's what we try and preach to our people is it is one team because the beer has to get sold, delivered, and then merchandised and get bought again for any of us to have jobs. So,
beer sells itself, right?
Yeah,
to an extent.
Matthew. Okay, Matthew.
It does until it doesn't.
That's right. No,
but you got to have a local distributor to get it to the show.
But what you said is completely right, and that's what we show up to work every day, understanding that right now we have 100 employees and we're responsible for 100 individuals' livelihoods.
Yeah.
And the failure and success of our company has a direct impact on those people. And
you got to do it with personalities too.
Yeah.
And that can melt your brain.
So I'm going to step in and say, we've all been dealing with, the pandemic and COVID and everything like that. And we had an instance where we showed up to work one day, me and my sales guys, and this is a direct reflection of the teamwork that we have at F.e.b. right now. Jeff called me and said, I've got 5 drivers. I've got 2 that tested positive for COVID, 3 others that their kids tested
we had
for
to
COVID,
quarantine.
and they had to quarantine. I got 5 drivers out. And,
we run 14 delivery
I'll say
routes.
5 of how many? So 5 of 14.
So we run 14 delivery routes, and I don't, you can't just replace a CDL driver,
right,
a Class A CDL driver. So I showed up to work on a Tuesday, and I had 5 delivery drivers that were out, and I had 2 people that could replace those 5.
And so
I had three delivery routes that I was trying to figure out how do we get.
So you called Ryland and said it's time to go to driver school, right?
My guys stepped in and said, "What can we do to help?" So between 5 of us, we took a route. There was one route unaccounted for.
He has a guy that has a CDL, so I was able to take him, put him on a route. But we split the other.
We split it up.
We put them all in vans. Ryland and I was rolling beer into murky waters later that day.
Brandon, shout out to Brandon Outwell.
Shout out Murky Waters.
He's done it a few times.
But it's
and Kaufman too.
He took it. He took beer to Murky kids. We split up routes and said, all right, how do we get this done?
What you got to do?
Yeah,
what you got to do.
But if you don't build that team mentality, you don't get that. People go, well, that's not my problem.
My job.
So
because it is about being efficient too. Because y'all are distributors. If y'all don't pull it off, y'all ain't gonna have the contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Or
we might just lose business.
Lose the business.
Just gonna lose the business.
Lose profit. Which
No
is
doubt.
the main thing. You don't want to lose that.
That's intense, man. Because that's a lot of moving parts.
And a lot of people don't realize like the work it takes to get beer to the shelf.
My mind's breaking up that way.
It's a total team effort. I mean, and you go back to the brewery, it's a total team effort on their part to get it to us. It's a total team effort to get it to your shelf. So
in the brewery's defense, they were dealing with all that in COVID. They were having people
not show up,
producing, like not showing up and like getting COVID.
Mexico shutting Corona's brewery down for 3 months.
The government of Mexico shutting it down.
Because you got to think though, if you got like a bar, like, and this has happened, you got to, let's say Ghost Machine's out on tap. It's a big deal for some bars.
Yeah,
and it really
that's lost. That's real money to them.
And they try to move you to the next beer. But the next beer might not be y'all's beer.
And I don't want them to move to the next beer.
And that's got to, I was just like,
neither do I.
All right, so how many beers are underneath one of y'all's roofs right now, or all of y'all's roofs?
Can I take a guess?
If you had to guess,
I want to guess.
Number
in our house?
Yeah, out of everything.
No,
not your house.
In my personal house.
No. In your warehouse. All your warehouses combined.
I can go for it.
Give me a number.
You guess.
You want to guess?
I don't want to.
You want to guess?
Yeah.
No, you should guess.
I might not.
How accurate?
Are we talking
Can I get a beer?
I'm talking about every roof that I want one too. Every roof that's owned by F.e.b.
Are we talking about individual brands of beer?
I'm talking about
every package.
I'm talking about a can of beer.
Oh, a can?
A can of beer.
Yeah, I can tell you that.
You could single can or a roundabout.
Or an individual can.
I mean, I'll do that. A case is 24 beer, so that would be 24. So
I can tell you cases.
Okay, you can tell me cases.
Yeah,
so I need to guess cases. And how many locations are there? How many different?
We have us in Jackson. I'm going to ballpark Jackson's because I didn't look at their number today.
Okay, so 2 places, 2 buildings.
Are you talking Kansas as a seltzer?
What's the square footage of these buildings?
2412. So we're about 75,000 here. And
about 150.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to say probably 600,000 cases.
So I gotta qualify this because
600,000.
Hold on. I gotta.
We're just going to stack to the roof here.
I have
to be pretty close.
He's pretty close.
Hold on. I want to go.
I win.
Hold on.
I want to go 550,000.
Let me qualify this.
$1,
Let me qualify this.
Wait,
because
I think
we're having the same type of supply chain constraints that everybody is right now. So I have a less inventory in my warehouse than I should right now. But
600.
Hold on, let's get to
pretty close.
but hold on, let's
So
get
we-
the guest people in here. If y'all have a guest, guys, anybody
hold
have?
on, I can look up Jackson's right now.
In the
while we're
comments,
guessing.
guys,
Yeah.
what do you guess?
Yeah, let's give everybody
Hey,
a chance to guess.
And we're
And I'll
talking.
take a look at this.
We're talking between. You got to think Gulfport. You got to think the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I am, man.
The Jackson
We cover
area.
about 23 counties too, so we go
Wow,
all the way up
that's
to
a
the
lot.
Mississippi
and
Delta.
Greenwood.
Yeah.
You got to think the Greenwood Delta area.
Greenwood doesn't hold any inventory.
That's right. That's
No.
right. So it holds.
I hold deer though.
The trucks that went up.
If you get it, if you get the closest,
it's holding Ryland's deer that he killed last year.
if you get
I
the
know,
closest,
I still don't have it.
if you get the closest,
all right, if they get whoever gets the closest, I'll give them a case of beer and an F.e.b. hat.
and we'll
And
give a
crawfish
crawfish beer hat.
Yeah, deal. All right, drop us some guesses.
All right,
Here
I'm
we go.
gonna actually look this up to make sure
This is-
completely accurate.
This is our first ever competition giveaway.
You got to change the podcast up. This is about real time right now.
I love it.
What do
have
you
some-
guys guess? Come on, give us some numbers.
And guys,
Alexander's in.
we need to do. Guys, you need to, when you get off the podcast with us, you need to listen to Benji Davis Project because that's how we start this.
Yeah. So these guys went to school with Benji. Used to play in their fraternity house growing up, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah. Do y'all remember Benji Davis?
Envy.
That was my dyslexia.
I've got it
creeping
too.
Hey,
out.
we got two.
Yeah, you're in good company.
I love that.
So we get any good
Yeah,
guesses?
you got your girl at
can't read it.
672,000.
Y'all are, wel-
994.
y'all are welcome for a good starting
Matt
point.
Whiteside said five.
Tim, we're in a Price is Right. Tim Wold says
$100.
500,000,
Tim just said $1.
and the other guy said 500,001.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, Chris Lau comes in. He works for us. He's one of our salesmen.
He might be negated on this competition. He might.
580.
I'm
Insider
telling y'all.
trading.
I'm telling
Matt
you.
McKernan, he's our Lagunitas rep.
I'm telling you, I've looked at both numbers, and I'm telling you, we're in supply constraints right now.
Okay.
And that
So-
doesn't mean anything to
Let
anybody.
it
that's
keep going
guessing
for a
I
numbers.
second.
just want to know who's winning
Yeah.
the hat in case
Matt,
of beer.
can you please do the Jeopardy sound? Pretty good.
Is that accurate?
Na, 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 na.
All right, we're gonna give y'all 30 more seconds to get your votes in, or your guesses in. 30 seconds. Is that it? Do we got a winner?
Did you see Matt McKernan?
David Branch said 69. If I had
Probably
69
close.
cases in my warehouse, I'd be out of business, David. Thank you.
I like where your head's at, David.
Yeah.
though. That's
All right, so
Chris Lau hadn't walked around and counted cases in our warehouse, apparently.
David. That's very mature of you.
So
All
I'm
right, do
looking
we
at
got a
the
winner?
closest number is. Where are we at? I can't read.
Jared,
Please,
Gary,
drum roll,
he's
drum
got a
roll.
mic right there too, and I
Is
don't know. I can't believe that on the
Alexander.
mic.
Alexander's on the closest number.
Alexander, you
We
win
have,
the
we,
case
have,
of
we
beer.
have just a little over 400,000 between both warehouses.
Nice.
But I would-
Congratulations, Alex. You win.
But I would tell everybody that guessed in a normal what are we, September, all of your numbers would be fairly
Yeah.
accurate.
Very close.
So instead of, we normally operate on about 30 days of inventory, we're operating on about like 7 days.
That's you and everybody
Maybe
else.
5.
Guido came in at 90,000.
That's
Guido, get out of here.
man, and he works there. Those
I
are
know.
insider numbers too.
Guido's counting kegs.
He must be
He's just
drinking
worried
in the
about
back.
kegs. So Guido's our own premise manager. He doesn't care anything about packaged beer. He's just selling kegs.
Tell me some of the positions that you guys got there at the store or at the warehouse. I'm
All
sorry.
right. So in sales, so I'm director of
So
sales.
hold on, Alexander. I need to know if you want a purple hat, a maroon hat, a powder blue hat, a gray hat,
Or a
navy hat,
Navy blue.
I got the navy
or
one,
a
yeah.
solid white hat.
Yeah, I was letting.
Let me know. I'll get it to you. Thank you.
So I'm over the sales and marketing. I've got 7 managers over me. And then salesmen underneath those managers. And then I have some, what we call merchandisers, 14 merchandisers 13 merchandisers and a merchandising supervisor.
That's who plays golf all the time.
So the merchandise, actually, the merchandisers are the guys that go into the stores and stock the shelves, and they do a little bit of beer ordering too. But then I've got 13.
Somebody tell Chris Lau he's tiger bait. like the real tigers.
And
Oh, you're good.
and then Jeff, his department falls, on the delivery in the warehouse. So I mean, I've got
in all, what, like 20, 30 positions, different positions within.
I've got like 48 in my department. I mean, we're right at like 100.
We're almost he and I are between our two departments are almost evenly split between employees.
Shout out to Nick Cook.
So it's like the Twix factory.
Yeah.
So Nick
you
just started.
You want left or right brain?
So y'all go to
I'm actually left. He's right.
Ryland. So y'all pick up our buddy Nick has been on his episode 1. Guys, check him out. Blood Sea Graffiti Artist. He just started with y'all.
Yeah.
And we have Daryl and stuff.
Sure did.
So there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to Nick's position, and he probably pointed out to the guy that goes and cleans the draft lines.
He's making sure
that's what your that's what your local distributor does. It's not It's not the brewery. It's not the retailer or the bar owner. Like, we're going in every 2 weeks and making sure that those draft lines are clean, that they don't get infected with bacteria or
Thank you.
Daryl,
you
the best.
So I played paintball with Daryl.
That's the Brewers Association standard.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Daryl. I played paintball with Daryl, and I seen him at the cannery. We were doing the karaoke contest.
I love the cannery.
And he came in to clean the line.
Shout out Matt Marvin.
Yeah,
but that's important though, because of bacteria.
Yeah,
like it really is
and it can make you sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look, it make the beer taste bad.
Oh, it makes
Screw being sick.
if you ever get a sour beer, it's because the lines weren't clean.
Or it tastes like butter.
So what's your thoughts on like the new sour beer? Like beer's a trend.
I love a good sour.
IPAs, are y'all IPA guys?
Shout out Dave Reese. Shout out Andrew Guiley. Shout out Mark Hendricks.
We will plug you guys. We
Yeah.
will plug you. All right. That's his life's about. So the over talking is, like we said, it's not a scripted podcast. We're not keynoting anything. We're going to talk like we're in a conversation.
Yeah.
Like we're drinking beer, and we're going to over talk several times.
Yeah. Sorry to deal with it.
Yeah. Sorry guys. Sorry. When you listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Audible, whatever we're on now.
Hey,
enjoy the talk over.
Benji Davis.
Yeah, look him up.
Yeah, if you don't know who Benji, tomorrow when you take a shower, Benji Davis, and then you drink a beer while you're showering.
I'm now living in a world where I'm plugging Benji Davis.
That's a good world. That's a good world. It could be worse, Jeff. It could be worse. So guys, what's the next step for F.e.b?
Man, we're just gonna keep
chugging along. Are y'all in other states or
no? And right now I don't think we have any aspirations to move outside the state. I think we still have a lot of opportunity in our local markets.
I respect that a lot.
A lot of untapped opportunity, if you will. So
we want people to know, who we are, and we support the community, and we love this place. And
you guys doing a hell of a job of that. I'll already tell you that right now.
I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, even though
we're cutting each other off right now.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Sorry, we're having a conversation.
I don't think we want to necessarily overextend ourselves.
Yeah, you spread it too thin. Sometimes you become less effective.
My dad, my grandfather always instilled in us that, like, if we're going to be in an area, we're going to support the area we're in, and
if the wheel ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well,
That's right.
And one of my dad's favorite things to say is keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, do what you're good at.
And so
do simple good.
Yeah, and oh God, he's doing.
Your dad sounds like my family.
He's doing all the plug words right now.
Frankie, you got that?
The company buzzwords. No, but
you thumbed it up. There you go.
But that's the
slogan.
But that's the deal. Is like we're gonna stick to what we're good at, and we feel like we're good at what we do. I think where I see where we're going is just continuing to improve our operations, the way that we do business, the way that we service our market, the way that the environment that we create for our employees.
But how do y'all keep up? Like, this is, I guess y'all do like Matt was saying about research, dude. Trends are really strange. This year it's this beer or this bourbon, or you just see these trends of like And y'all are keeping up to date, like Yingling. Let's think about Yingling. We loved Yingling, and y'all got it in.
And you couldn't even get it.
I used to drive to Florida and buy cases when I lived in Spanish Fort.
I've got the Hershey Porter that we need to break out.
That's our dessert.
We're doing it a little later. We're not doing it right now. That's a special one.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I used to drive to Florida and get me and DJ Borrees cases. I used to have my 240, and I'd load up the back.
Let me ask you this: why don't you load up your car at the Rouse's now and with a truck full of Yingling?
Because I honestly will go with
bourbon now.
Because like honestly, I'll go with for me, I'll go with a Fly Llama. Like, but that's something that I start as I get older.
Let's be honest now, Jeff. We can't drink like we used to.
Yeah. Yingling's a big deal.
We can. It's just
when
it takes longer to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
A big rye. When y'all got Yingling, that was a big deal. Like people don't understand. Like we always just drink. Like we could never get Yingling.
Right.
Could never get Yingling, and all of a sudden.
And look, the Yingling deal. Not to steal Ryland's thunder. Yingling deal is a really cool story for us because it's a business that has a lot of parallels to our business. It's a 6th generation family owned business. It's the oldest brewery in America that's still American owned and family owned. And he and I actually we had not been able to go up there since we've had the brand, and we went up, what was that, a month or so ago?
Yeah.
And got to take some
end
of
of July.
Do y'all do that? Do y'all do tours on every one of y'all's brands?
Yeah, we like to go visit our suppliers. But we got to go visit them and take some of his sales managers, and
we took 5 managers.
Guido just said great trip, but you know, we got to spend some time with Dick Yingling, who's the 5th generation owner. Who is passing it.
It's a strong name.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like he's 74,
and he's passing.
Not that that's old or anything.
He's passing the business on to his 4 daughters now.
Yeah,
wow.
Right.
Wow.
And so
that was cool.
That's actually a picture of Pete Coors and David Coors. So, but it's cool to spend time.
They look like they're having fun.
Yeah, it's cool to spend time with people like that because we're still even like
y'all are young.
As big as the beer business gets, it's still a lot. There's still a lot of family businesses involved, but it's also like
multi-generation.
It's a people business and it's a relationship business, and that's never going to change.
Nope. That's how insurance is.
Yeah,
same thing.
And so it's kind of cool to go and like what we got to do with Yingling, go and we spent time with Dick Yingling and just hear his stories and his kind of his stories about coming up with his younger generation and how
got to be somewhat similar to y'all. Like
it sounded so familiar. It's on a bigger stage.
I watched a little of the documentary on that, and they have these crazy, like this building they have is like ancient, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's the same one. It's built into the side of a mountain. It's got caves where they used to store.
We need to go there.
You need to go to Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and go to DG Yinglings and Sons.
Before they had like electric coolers, they built these caves underground,
ice blocks in there,
and that's where it would stay a certain temperature, and that's where they stored the kegs.
And then and then during Prohibition, the federal government came in and made them brick all the caves up. So when you go through now,
like something
you're walking through all these
for a secret back door. That's
you know what else was cool about Yingling and Dick? He liked us.
Yeah, that makes them. I
mean, but how do you not like when you take the time to?
You guys seem like likable people. Like,
I mean.
No, delivery and storage is always huge. I remember whenever we were in college and I went to Ole Miss, and it was a dry county up there. Okay, and then they had a
Rebel Barn.
They had the Rebel Barn, and then they would bring the Coors Light in there, and Coors Light was especially cold.
Yeah, in the cold,
and that was the only cold beer that we could get in town.
So actually, we didn't talk about this. I lived in Oxford. I went to law school.
Okay, so you know our pain.
I know. I'm familiar with the Rebel Barn. I'm familiar with what was it, Dave's Challenge or
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We used to do some dumb stuff in college, but
I was in law school. It's still doing dumb stuff.
Do what you got to do, Jeff, and that's the moral of the story there. But no, guys, I really appreciate y'all coming by and doing this. I think we need to do this again.
Absolutely.
We're still got a little longer because we got to drink our.
We have to drink one more.
Yeah, let's do that. For sure.
We're not cutting this off yet.
Hey, so let's take some questions or something.
Yeah, you guys got any questions?
We're just rambling on right now.
Hey, can we go a little longer, Matt? Guys, y'all want us to go a little longer?
Going as long as we want.
We're rambling on.
We're an hour in. We can go long. We can go 30 more minutes for all I care. This is history in the making.
All right, so all right, we've talked about the beer that's acquired. We talked about how you guys get it. We talked about you sending it out. let's talk about what your favorite beers are. And I don't want to get you guys in trouble. I don't want to get you guys in trouble with anybody that. But you got to have a preference, right? I mean,
So
Do you have one more Hershey?
I always used to say,
Huh?
In my car.
Huh?
I have it in my car.
Right.
You want me to leave something?
No, it's fine. I'll get Garrett. You'll get one after the show. I'll split this with you.
I was always a big pale ale fan early on. And I used to tell people all the time that if they told me, and this is going back 15 years, if there was one beer I could drink, if I was put on a desert island, Sierra Nevada, or Nevada, I should say.
And honestly, I'd be straight up with you on that beer. I've seen it so many times, never tried it, fell in love with it.
So, and that's like
the other one is Red Stripe.
Red Stripe, man.
Hey,
so
hey,
like
hey.
like
Let's get a cheers with our Hershey beers.
Hey,
This is a first for me.
Matt,
I
can
wanna
we
do
go a little longer? I feel like
Really
I
go.
feel like we got a little gas still in us. We can start telling ghost stories.
I like this.
can we go longer? Is he here?
No, it's running. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah,
we're on the main
we're
camera.
good.
You want to go?
So
on that one?
like,
Yeah, what's
and
your
that's
favorite
what,
beer?
And that's
I
what
know
like,
what yours is.
yeah, he knows. But
We don't.
what's funny is like people.
Garrett, you
I
want to split this Hershey with me?
can like it's funny because people ask us all the time and they expect like this real like rare
Wow.
to find.
Yeah, like you got to pour it in the cup first. You smell
oddball
it.
beer. And like I will tell you, he said Sierra Nevada. My go-to since I was probably 21 is Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Boston Lager.
it's-
And do you care that?
It's
Man,
yeah, it's
You're
taste-
like a 40-year-old beer drinker.
I know.
when you're 21.
He's turning 40 this
I
year.
guarantee he's got
40
white
I
New
turned
Balances
40 in
on.
like 5 months.
He's got white New Balances on right now.
But I like that's one beer that has never changed.
I used to like the
Consistent.
Amberbach. That was my
Shout
good beer.
out,
I like
shout out to
Oktoberfest.
Jim Cook,
Shout out Jim Cook. Shout out Zach
Oktoberfest?
Ducote.
Zach Ducote,
Oktoberfest?
Mike
I love
Sacknoff.
Oktoberfest.
Emily's favorite beer is one of her is the Oktoberfest.
But I will tell you, dude,
Cheers to that.
It's a good beer.
this one has turned into one of my go-tos, which is why I
Dr.
brought it.
Shout out to
I feel like I need to go to an
Andrew
EDM show.
You know,
I
if
might have
I'm
a bad
if
beer
I'm,
tonight.
if I'm out of town, I was in California over the weekend, and I drank some Pliny the Elder,
Pliny
which is-
the Elder.
which is one of
I feel
those
like we're
kind
watching
of
Lord of the Ring movie.
type of Holy Grail beers.
I don't even
Sounds
know
like-
anything about this. I'm
I
such
like-
a loser.
I like left hand milk stout when I can get it, but it's I got to be out of state. But, yeah.
Longmont.
But if I was sitting
That's a
on,
good
if they said this is the one beer you have to drink for the rest of your life, it'd be Boston Lager,
Boston Lager.
Aaron LaFrance, where are you
You'd be a
at?
diabetic.
probably for multiple reasons.
Yeah, no
So,
doubt.
so we got like so. I will say my favorite beer of all time would be Hops and Growlers, Billy Wright, and he's a Billy Wright, his stout, Billy Wright stout.
I've heard of that one. Hadn't had it.
So I was not big on beer growing up. My parents didn't drink. I didn't drink. I started drinking probably in high school whenever it was the taboo subject, something we weren't supposed to do. And then it was whatever we could get our hands on, right? Like he just didn't care. He just wanted the end outcome. So later on in life, I get to start to develop an acquired taste for beer. And honestly, at a young age, I fell in love with Budweiser. And I don't know why. And people say it's the full, it's the rich.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, my metabolism slowed down and my belly started to just.
That's what I'm going through right now.
And I was like, man, I can't keep drinking these things.
Yeah.
That happened to me
if I
at
want beer,
19.
Dude, I was 21 years old and I'm sitting here like, man, what's going on? Like, I've been drinking these things for years. And again, we don't talk about anything we did before we were 21, but anyway, I had to quit drinking that, and then as slow, I really worked beer out of my regimen. It's all, when I do drink, I Crown Royal for the most part, or any kind of whiskey or bourbon. So tonight's been fun.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
four
because now
beers
I
in.
mean, there's so many different beers that I will say.
I was just looking at the table of how many beers we've crushed.
That's a commercial.
It's not, we still got a few more.
Some
In
of
us.
them still got a little in there.
And we haven't even brought out a Miller Lite yet.
We're gonna let's bring out a Miller Lite a little bit. Like
Look, we've got this Yinling Hershey's. Now we were just
All
talking
right.
about Yinling,
Yeah, like
and you kind of gave us the backstory on Yinling.
So
great family.
you want to talk about the Yingling Hershey's raw? That's up your
I
alley.
mean,
dude, it tastes just like a Hershey.
It really
so
does.
for those of
kinda
you
trippy.
that don't know, Hershey's is also a Pennsylvania company. I actually didn't even know that.
You didn't know of Hershey, Pennsylvania?
I did not.
I didn't know it either.
I didn't know it either, man. Don't
let your brother pick on you.
Story. So when
I'm here for the syrup.
the partnership came together, it obviously made sense. And my uncle Paul went to a meeting with Yingling, and they had it only on draft. You know my uncle Paul.
I got him in a dress. I got a picture with him in a pink dress.
Paulie, if you're out there,
Paul's not even watching right now, but you've got a fan.
Yeah,
you have a fan.
So he came back and he was like, the minute that we can have available to sell this Yingling Hershey's, I mean, it's a great partnership. It's a phenomenal beer. He got to try it at the meeting. But
it was close to the Budweiser. I mean, it was almost like a full lager.
Yeah.
You see Hershey's.
Yeah, no, that's
But
not.
you
That's not what
got to
think
take
of.
risks. So they had
They're
their.
just gonna be like,
Do y'all
oh my
know?
God,
Do
I
y'all
gotta
know
try
why
that.
Yingling wasn't allowed to be sold in Mississippi? What's the rule on that?
They just
That was totally on Yingling.
It was Yingling.
Yingling's only in 25 states right now.
Okay, I didn't
And
know.
when
I thought it was like a state.
It's a family-owned
When
brewery.
they entered
So
Mississippi,
once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
Just the ring.
when they entered Mississippi,
they
we were
pick and
like,
choose.
we were like their 18th state. So it was just a business decision.
Okay.
So as I just read this, I gotta call it out. My dad said as we're
What did he just say?
we're calling out
Frankie,
favorite
what did you
beers,
say?
Dad said, "Give me a tall blonde."
What is a tall blonde?
That's a Miller High Life
Miller
in a
High
glass
Life.
bottle.
Oh,
So do y'all have any Miller High Life? Have Miller Lite
know,
tattoos?
did you bring us some Miller High Life?
I did not bring
You know what that
Mr.
means? That means
Mr.
he's
Frank, they failed you with this one.
Yeah, that means he's disappointed that we didn't have at least two.
Yeah, exactly.
Miller High Life.
Sorry, Mr. Frank.
He sent that
It's not my
comment and he
fault.
logged off disappointed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Frank.
Next
It's
time,
their fault,
hey,
not ours.
Episode 2.
Sorry, Papa.
So episode
Papa
two-
Giorgio,
episode two-
we failed you.
Episode 2, Frankie B's got to come on.
Yeah, no.
I think it'd be
how about-
dope.
I feel like we need to come to y'all and we need to do it in the warehouse with all these just beer
Yeah,
cans behind us.
that'd be
I think that would be
I think that would
cool
be super
too.
dope.
But
Yeah.
could we drink beer there?
After hours?
After hours, yeah.
I mean, I know the owners.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We're out of the way. At this time of night, I can put us out of the way.
You know,
There we go. There we go.
so let's just dive in with the fact that, like, you know, without you guys, how would people even really get beer? I mean, like, you know, the microbrews, you're taking on the craft stuff.
Here's the paradox.
That's kind of a weird thing.
It is,
It is.
and some people could agree. Some people may disagree. I'm going to tell you the way it is, though. If we did not have an independent distributor tier, and this is the most simplest way I can put it, is if there was not a independent distributor tier in our industry, your beer aisle would look like your soft drink
Big
aisle.
bank eats little bank.
Yeah.
Yep.
You would walk down your soft drink aisle tomorrow and see what you see.
Yeah, there's no Frank Cola.
And this is not a hit on soft drinks, because we have great friends at Allen Beverages and we have great friends at Coca-Cola.
No, that's what I was asking.
But that's what you got is you got Coke and Pepsi.
right.
And so what we pride ourselves in and what our role is to give every beer or brewery access to market in our area.
That's awesome.
So because otherwise you take a guy like Dave Reese or Mark Henderson, or, you know, it's the beer business is expensive.
Yeah.
Like on
Very.
it's expensive to brew beer. It's expensive to be a beer distributor. We have a ton of overhead. We're in the trucking business by default, because I have to have
Correct.
trucks.
Because
to
it's
ship
the
my beer.
outsource, it's probably through the roof.
Yeah, I have to have a warehouse to store the beer at temperature control for quality and
Power bill is really cheap.
but we what we can provide a local or a regional guys, we already have all those resources. So they don't have to, not to mention we have a sales force that's going into retail accounts every day selling our entire portfolio. They're not just saying I can only sell Miller Lite, or I can only sell Coors Light, or I can only sell Corona, because that's what is being pushed down to me. Or the supplier can't, and we call them suppliers, the brewery can't go around us to a retailer and say, you can only sell my beer.
Right.
Because
it's got to go through us.
Because I'm the guy in the middle. And there's other things in play too with an independent wholesaler is You don't pay what we call slotting fees, which is something that's done in soft drinks and potato chips and all that. Like those guys pay a cost
To have theirs up
to
front.
have theirs
Crazy.
on the shelf.
Yeah.
Ours is all that's illegal because they have to come through an independent wholesaler to do it. So what our role is to provide, and I'm not just going to say help the little guy, but it's to provide an access to market
Equal opportunity.
For all
every-
brands.
Yeah.
For all
Right.
brands. So
Because we say put it on the shelf and the consumer is going to decide. Our job's to get it out there. Consumer is going to decide what they like and what they don't
Yeah,
like.
like Zima's.
Big
Zima's
Rob,
like
Big
shit,
Rob,
they
you
went
got
away.
Yeah,
so
it's gone.
Big Rob. How long does a beer last? How long does a beer last? If so, you
it depends
like
on
on the y'all keep it climate control, but like this is a thing when you ice a case, take it
Yeah, you
off.
heard the term skunk. It gets
sick,
hot.
yeah,
and
it
it
gets
gets cold.
nasty.
No, that's all a myth.
It's
As long as you're not leaving,
It's a myth.
as long
It's
as
a
you're
myth.
not leaving,
You heard it here first, ladies and
as
gentlemen.
long as you're not leaving, like you don't want it to get 90 degrees and then, but I mean beer can go from cold to room temperature and back to cold, and it's not a big deal. What skunks beer is sunlight. So when light penetrates beer, that causes it the off taste and causes it to spoil.
That's why I was saying the quality is uncompromised if it's in a can.
Because light can't penetrate the can.
Yeah.
Light is like, I always put it this way. Most people think, hey, what's the freshest type of beer we can get? And they're like, well, a beer in a keg. Well, a aluminum can is just a small keg.
Yeah.
Because light can't get to it.
So
But every shelf life is different.
there's another question.
It
from
depends on the style of beer.
David
Branch is wearing
David
us out.
Branch, the jokester. So who would I drink a beer with, celebrity, dead or alive? I'd have to pick my man Chris Farley.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That was a,
And
That's a good one.
that was a
cheer.
no-brainer.
That is a
Cheers to
cheers.
Chris
That's a
Farley right there.
no-brainer.
I'd have to pick Chris
I
Farley.
got a little coat.
And Norm passed. Like Norm Macdonald's one of my favorites. And he just passed away.
He's a
Blew
good
my mind.
one too. But Chris Farley, and because he was such a big Chicago man, I'd have to say we would be drinking an old style.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Old
Yeah.
I don't even
style.
know what that is.
That happened to me either.
Sounds like a Chicago style.
Sounds like
beer.
something that
Chicago beer.
You know,
You know,
Chris-
Bricks
If
and
you go to
baseball.
Chicago drinking old
if
stuff,
you haven't
old
learned
style.
anything from this podcast, like the knowledge that we're gained from, like I'm just trying to absorb. Like I love our show so that we get to absorb knowledge.
Yeah.
I look at the way I drink beer now, having you two guys on in
I'm
a
gonna
different
start
light.
calling y'all and be like, hey man, I
Yeah,
just
man.
found this beer. What do you
So-
think about it? I'm gonna be a
first
recruiter.
of all, when you
Go-
bring it up,
go for it.
if it's something we don't sell, I'm gonna say put it back.
Okay.
So
I want to be a recruiter. I
So
want to be
me
like the
and
guy who's
Matt-
like, hey man, we just found this.
Yeah.
So me and Matt have
Send the guy their way.
done, like the like Shandy commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
And Cam and Kane are great friends of
Great
ours.
guys.
Um,
Yeah,
when
they're
David
good guys.
David Reese
Tried to sell their beer.
when David Reese
Whatever.
did
Arm wrestle competition.
open
Over.
Fly Lima, we did and you were there. We did the soft open, and
Yep.
all of us, me, Butler, all of
Yep.
us, and I bought a bunch of hats, and little Robbie Williams was there. But it's a support. You see,
Bobby Williams.
Bobby Williams,
Bobby Williams.
Dr. Bobby Williams.
That's
Dr.
Robbie.
Bobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob.
He was with you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all were in the same Mardi Gras court.
Yeah, we were both Dukes and Gulf Coast Carnival together.
How much fun was that? Probably none at all, right?
Just a little bit.
So you want to tell you how the coast is, how much you love it? Like we went from there, and Butler and all them had never been to White Pillars. We went from there to White Pillars with Austin. We went
Oh, wow.
randomly picking drinks
Wow.
and beers at White Pillars after leaving Fly Lime with y'all. Like, but to see the support, Cam and Kane came out, all of us came out, and he just opened the doors, and to see like a small little building that, I mean, it's a risk.
Yeah.
All this is when it comes to local beers, like versus
Business is a risk.
Oh,
Yeah,
always.
Absolutely.
All right, so if you're an up and comer and you think, like I was saying earlier, just hypothetically, you think you got the next big thing, you want to get in front of you guys' face, tell everybody out there what's their best shot of being discovered and put on the map.
Just call us.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
It's always taking free samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Give us a call.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not gonna.
we're in the
turn
business
anybody
to sell
away.
beer.
That's right.
So, I mean, I'm in, especially local guys that are like a guy like Dave or a guy like Mark Henderson. Like we want,
Scott Hickson.
we
Whenever
want to
you're
give,
ready.
we want to give,
Scott.
we want to give people an opportunity to get their beer to the open market. And
Absolutely. That's what we're
I
here
wish
for.
Scott
He's
was.
got, dude.
Scott brews some really
He
good
put
beer.
me on it. So before that, I was just the standard walking to the gas station and buy your case or the grocery store, buy your case of beer
Yeah.
or whatever. And the microbreweries. I remember going out to Colorado after college, and I was like, okay, this is something new. The people out there were way too passionate about beer for me, and I'm just like, okay, this is a tool for me. This is what I use to release some stress, not a lifestyle. And then I just started to peek into the lifestyle. And Scott was one of the first ones that actually was like, here, man, try this, and told me the ingredients that he put in it. And he took the time to make me a beer fan versus just here, drink it.
That's a guy that cares about his craft.
He's award winning, and he keeps he's award winning. He's award winning, and he keeps his medals in a closet.
Yeah, hidden. He doesn't want anybody in there.
And he's won so many awards. And Dave Reese and him, like they brew together. Like
I get to experience this on a daily basis with 100 Scots.
I mean, we feel for it. It's not like Ryland and I are in our basement brewing beer right now. Like, we feel fortunate.
Have you ever made your own beer?
I have not.
Have you tried?
I have not.
Cheers!
Was it an epic failure?
I'm picking favorites.
Did you lie to yourself? Tell yourself it was good?
I'm just the operations guy.
Hey. 6-year-old miss.
Yeah. Full disclosure here.
But that's why, like,
full disclosure here, it was terrible.
It wasn't any good.
But that, I mean, we're not.
There's a reason why I just sell beer.
And that's the point.
Market beer.
And that's the point. We're not the experts at making beer. But we feel like we have a very good expertise in how to sell and distribute beer.
Let's get some Miller Lights out. Let's finish this off with Miller Lights.
So that's why we're here. We're here to help those guys that are the artists and the ones that are making this fantastic beer. Like, we're here to put it on the shelf and make sure it's profitable.
So Miller Lite's the Mag Daddy. That's home base.
Well, that's the one that keeps the lights on.
And y'all been with them for years, right?
That's so we've been with Miller since the mid '50s.
That's some Hershey's.
This is home base for me, but I have to call out.
Matt, you got to chug that.
I'm not chugging anything.
I got to call out my dear wife, Lainey Bertucci, who all she drinks is
Shout out, Miss Lainey.
Coors Light. But
so
yes,
what
I'm the Miller Lite.
What a lot of people wouldn't know is we were actually Miller Lite came out in late '70s. 76. Ryland just spilled the whole.
It's all right. Don't worry about that stuff down there.
Sure did.
So
we got more than that.
Like, Miller Lite came out as like they started testing it in 76 or 77. We were actually a test market for Miller Lite in 1978 before it officially hit the market.
So we're a beta tester now.
We were the Mississippi coast, and it was really because of how successful we were with Miller High Life.
I thought it might have been because of all the boats and the water, and people like to drink when they're on the boat.
So my grandma.
So my dad says he unloaded the first boxcar of Miller Lite that hit the Mississippi coast.
So my grandpa, your dad might know my grandpa is Fabian Duron or Derwin.
Yeah,
he's a Biloxi family. Yeah. My family does fighting. Rusty Derwin's my cousin. We're from the Point. My grandfather was Miller Lite, and my grandpa was Red. Great grandpa was Red, but my grandpa and my grandma for years would do Miller Lite and salt. That's their thing, and I think your dad might remember this, but they do salt. This is the thing. They pour salt.
I've seen people salt their beer before,
and it's a Miller Lite, and the house is like growing as a kid. My grandpa would have cases of Miller Lite just flooding the refrigerator. Like I've heard several people, like the whiskey connoisseurs and stuff, and the people who are pushing this high end product that they're selling, and they say the best way to drink it is however you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's personal.
They're not going to tell you how.
My wife and I just got back from Napa and did a little wine trip
for you, Matt.
And that's what that's what the guide told us. He was like, "You're going to drink a lot of stuff, and some people are going to like it, some people are not. But it's the experience is personal."
That's right.
So, and I equate that to beer too. Like, what's my taste might not be your taste, and that's okay. Like,
that's right. That's why you offer diversity. We got your brand.
I tell my friends all the time.
We're very diverse.
I tell my friends all the time. We sell about 250 different brands of beer. I don't care which one you pick up. Just pick up mine.
I gotta accept that.
Hey, we appreciate y'all coming. Yeah. Thank y'all so much for coming,
guys. We enjoyed it.
We're gonna have these guys back. It's been a great episode with the F.e.b. boys. So
heck yeah.
Hey, and if you need a beer, go to F.e.b. If you need some merch, go to crawfishbeer.com.
You got to get one of these hats.
Cheers.
Yeah,
solid.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Cheers, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Thank you, guys, man. That was awesome.
That's a fact. Hey, throw it back. Hey, throw it back. Hey. I got the yellow ribbon. So, it's okay. It's okay. How many times did you sit back just relaxing? Understand movements coming in, yeah, we got the packs in. I don't really wanna see no more traffic. Last pack just came in, let's